Hello and welcome to the Drishikon Show. Today we are back with Mr. Ankush Bhandari. A lot has happened in the world since our last show. On October 7th, where more than 1,400 people in Israel were killed and 240 were abducted. It was their Jewish Shabbat day and it was a religious festival at that time. What the world saw during those few hours and the days after that was absolutely inhuman. So, and that has set the world on a certain path that we want to discuss about and where we are going, what is going to be the impact of that, and what is the history. So let us start with the history. Namaste, Ankushi.
Namaste,
Welcome
Deshi.
to the
Thank you
show
again for
again.
inviting me on the show.
So let's start with the history of this whole conflict. Do you want to take us through that history so that our viewers can get a context to why these things have happened the way they've
Yeah,
happened?
sure. Deshi, everybody talked about the genocide of Jewish in the Second World War by Hitler, but I think we have to go back 50 years beyond Hitler, what he did in 1940 to 45 during the Second World War. So let's go back in the 17th and 18th century. The Jewish people were scattered all over the Europe in 1800s and even 1700. And if you see, the industrial revolution in Europe happened during that time. And we have discussed a little bit in our other episodes how the industrial revolution happened. And in addition to this industrial revolution, there was a nationalist movement in each country of the Europe, whether it's Germany, France, England. So there was one phrase which was very common in 1800, late 1800, I will say, France is for French, Germany is for Germans, Britain is for English people. So at that time, because Jewish was always very intelligent breed, they are very rich people, they are very hardworking people. At that time in Switzerland, in the city named Basel, one of the very rich and influential Jewish in Europe, his name was Theodor Herzl. He invited a lot of influential Jewish in this town and held a very big meeting. He said, we are sponsoring the industrial revolution all over the Europe, whether it's Britain, France, Germany, or any part, even in Russia, and we don't have any land. Why don't we industrialize our own land? So when that come into picture, many of the Jewish, the influential Jewish, the rich industrial Jewish, they agreed to him. They said, okay. So they said, like everybody is saying France is for French, we will give this movement called Zionism. So now the question came, why he gave the word Zionism on that? So Zionism, if you see in Jerusalem, there is a temple, Temple Mount, which has a Zion sign on it. So that Zion sign is very, very sacred to the Jewish people. So that sign, he take it and everybody agreed and the name was called as Zionism. So now let's move further, 20 years further. In 1940, because this happened in 1986, so in 1914, almost 18, 20 years after, the First World War happened. And everybody knows the First World War between the France and UK was on one side and the Ottoman Empire with the Germany was on another side. So there was a very interesting events happen. I will just take 2-3 minutes. I will not go in detail. When in 1916 and 70s, the UK and France sees that, okay, Ottoman Empire is getting, means he will be get defeated along with Germany, then they reach up an accord which is called Sykes Picot Agreement. They very secretly did that, and between them they only decided when the Ottoman Empire will be defeated, how they are going to have the distribution of the land, the Arab land. All the Arab land which they have under the Ottoman Empire, because earlier there was no Saudi Arabia, there was no Turkey, there was no Syria, there was no Jordan, all come under one empire which was called the Ottoman Empire. And then In 1919, when the World War just ended, First World War ended, there was some there, like we have United Nation now. There was League of Nation at that time. That organization was called the League of Nation, and they very cleverly put this plan in front of the League of Nation that yes, Ottoman Empire now needs to be uh, divided, and we need to divide this because we want to help the Ottoman Empire to prosper.
Hmm.
See the words they use very tactically, diplomatically and very cleverly, like a sluggish way they mention. So France said, okay, let's have Syria and Lebanon under me, and Syria and Lebanon come into organization, into a region.
Hmm.
Similarly, Britain said, okay, let's have me Iraq and Palestine. At that time, the first time the word Palestine came into existence, apart from the Ottoman Empire. So then they said, okay, all this keep on going on. Then the Jews said, we need to go to the our holy land, which is Jerusalem, right? When they
Hmm.
go to Jerusalem, they said, how we can tackle the Arabs there? They had a plan: go and purchase the land, because they were very rich people.
Right.
So lot of Jewish influential rich billionaire at that time, they went to the Palestine area and they start purchasing land. When this division happened, so Palestine, they were not intelligent people, they don't know what's going on. They go back to the UK and said, hey, the British Empire, and said, what's going on? Israelis, the Jewish people are coming and taking over our land. You need to do something. See here, again, those crooked people, the British Empire, how they played very tactfully and crookedly. They said, we can't say no to the Jewish because they are supporting our industrial revolution, right?
Hmm.
And on the other hand, they can't say no to the Arab because they want their oil.
Right.
So they said, okay, we will put they put a word called restricted entry to the Jewish. When this thing folded, the Jewish came back. They said, how you can say that restricted entry to us? This is our holy land. They said, no, we are not prohibiting you. You can come to the
Hmm.
legal way. Okay. But you have a restricted entry. You can't come in millions over here and just settle over here. You have a restricted, and only we can allow certain number of Jews to come over here. But illegally, if you want to come, you are more than welcome, because we don't have our soldiers on every inch of the land, right?
Right.
So see how they did it, and then everybody's know that a genocide happened. Second World War happened. Hitler did the genocide, and then after the genocide, when a lot of things happened, Israel at that time said in the UN that we need our land, we need our place to live, because we are being killed everywhere in during the Second World War.
Hmm.
So UK, the Britain at that time said we cannot handle, because they have created a system called the mandate system at that time. So they said, oh, we can't do this mandate anymore. Let's United Nations handle this problem, and let's Jewish and the Palestinian people, both Arab and the Arabs and the Jewish, the Arabs as well as the Jewish, they went to the United Nations and say, okay, we need a resolution. So United Nations set up a special commission, which was named as Special Commission on Palestine.
Hmm.
And the good part was that India was one of the 11 members.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, India was one of the 11 members who will decide the fate of Palestine.
Hmm.
So a memorandum was given. Let's divide Arab one land, and let's divide Jewish as one land.
Hmm.
And that was failed. India opposed that. Many nations, including India, opposed that. They said, we want to have a united Palestine. So when you say united Palestine, how they can both coexist with each other?
Right.
Okay. Then United Nations say, okay, and I think many of your viewers didn't know that Gaza Strip was not a part of Palestine anyway. It was a part of Egypt.
Hmm.
So they said, most of the people who live here, they are Arabs, but they are Palestinian Arabs. They're not Egyptian Arabs. So why don't Egypt you give the Palestine this Gaza Strip? And they
Right.
agreed. Okay. And the West Bank was never part of Palestine. It was a part of Jordan. If you see the
Mm-hmm.
Jordan River, which is very, very famous in the Bible, maybe you may have heard it. They always say and even in Bible they have said that the area of Israel belongs to the Jewish. That's why the
Right.
Jewish often you may have heard and also read the phrases before Islam. Almost 2000 years before Islam was born, the God has given this land to us.
Mm.
So that was the thing which happened. That was the thing which happened. So then, okay, then the main problem in front of United Nations was, okay, Gaza Strip comes, West Bank comes, what we can do of the city Jerusalem, because it's a holy place for Jewish, for
Mhm.
Muslims, and for Christians equally,
Right.
right? So they said, okay, let's leave Jerusalem out of this accord. We will call it an international city. Anybody who practice any of the faith, whether he's a Muslim, whether he's a Jew or a Christian, he can come and visit that.
Mm.
But this was not okay with all the Arab countries over there in the Middle East. And in
Right.
1948, the war happened. So that was the first war the Jewish people fought for their land. I'm not saying for their existence, they were already existing, for their holy land.
Mm-hmm.
And this continued for another 20 years, approximately 15 years. When Egypt, the president of Egypt at that time was, what was
Anwar
his
Sadat.
name? I am
Anwar
forgetting his
Sadat. I think
Say
Anwar
it again?
Sadat. Anwar
Yeah,
Sadat.
yeah. So he
Yeah.
said that, okay, because now Egypt got independence, so they said, okay, we don't have any French people there. We have the independence. So they said, okay, how we can do our progress, right? Like the India
Mm.
faced the issue, how we can industrialize our country. We don't have the money. We don't have food grains. So Egypt also have the same issue. All the colonial powers, all the colonial countries, when they get liberated, excuse me, they have the same issue, right? So
Mm-hmm.
he at that time went to each country, France, UK, and America, even Soviet Union, that please give us the money. We want to industrialize my country. I want to build up dams. I want to have irrigation facilities in my country, so that because Nile is the biggest longest river in the world, right? I want to build up the dam so that I can have. Nobody gave up any money to them. They said, no, 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 Egypt. Oh, who is Egypt? Oh, we don't care about you.
Mm-hmm.
So he got so rage that he said, okay, Suez Canal, it was controlled by the British company earlier. He kicked them. He said, you leave my Suez Canal, and I'm doing, I'm nationalizing my Suez Canal. And to take the revenge, like for example, if the Indian ship passes, $1. But if French or British ship passes, $50. They have to pay the tariff.
Mm.
So they get annoyed that, oh, he was our colonial country. How can he be, doing all those thing with us? So at that time, there was a long, they decided a secret meeting happened within Britain, France, and Israel, and say, okay, Israel, they are asking you $100, to us $50. Why don't you go and fight with Egypt? And then France will come and mediate between you both. And what I will do, I will come back and capture the Suez Canal, and I will have the whole control over the Mediterranean Sea, the Suez Canal, and the whole path to the Asia and everywhere, right? So you come, and when all this happened, America was unaware of that. When this happened, the U.S. president at that time said, "What's going on? Why you are fighting for nothing? You have already set up a resolution that we want to build up an Israel, and we are
Mm-hmm.
helping you out. We are giving you money. We are giving you weapons. We are giving you the security. We are giving you everything what you need. So why you are fighting with Egypt?" So all these things happen. And in the same time, in 1960, Yasser Arafat, right? Everybody, I think, knows about that man. He was a young guy. He was very, charismatic and all those. So what happened? He became the leader of the organization which is called Palestine PLO, Palestine Liberation Organization.
Hmm.
And then moving forward in the late 60s, 1967 war, 6 Day War, it was happened. And at that time, uh, uh, Egypt was there. It was Syria. It was Palestine
Jordan.
PLO. It was Iraq. All the Jordan, everybody fight
Jordan was
against,
there. Yeah.
yeah, fight against Egypt, Israel. And then Israel won the war within the 60, and it's very famous called 6 Day War, right?
Correct.
And they take away the Golan Heights from Syria, the mountains, because from there they can watch the whole Middle East, right? And they also take with Jerusalem. They said the UN authority is no more an international city. It's our capital. It's
Hmm.
our holy land. Get out from here. And they also capture the West Bank.
Correct.
And this continues for another 6 years. And the first Yom Kippur War happened on October 6th, 1973, when the Prime Minister was the Iron Lady Golda Meir over there.
Right.
At that time, Iraq, Jordan, Libya, Egypt, Palestine PLO, Syria, Lebanon, they all attacked on Israel when they were in the festivity mood, because this is the time this the New Year celebration starts, and it continues for 1 month, and it take everybody by surprise. Israel was
Hmm.
not at all prepared that it will happen on the one of the holiest days, and US at that time came to rescue, like US is doing right now. And within 10 days the situation all changes. all
Correct.
the all the Middle East countries, Egypt, Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, Jordan, Libya, PLO, they lost the war. And you may have heard, then they impose a lot of tariffs on the oil, and they said we are not giving supply oil to the US. And in 1973 we heard the word which was very famous, oil embargo on US by Middle East because of Israel. We also call this an oil shock, right?
Right.
Because the prices of oil plummeted to 12 times from a $2 by barrels by barrel. Sorry, for $2 per barrel, it rises to $24 per barrel. And all the gas stations in the US went dry. People don't have the gas to fill in their cars, and it was the first time the US faced uh, the yellow gold
Hmm.
shortage. And then uh, the petrodollar come into being, right? The
Right.
brainchild of the then Secretary of State Kissinger and Nixon, the President Nixon, right? So,
Right.
so these all happened. Now let's move further to 1980s. So
Hmm.
when all this happened, Mossad has become very strong,
Hmm.
right? What Mossad did, they have a tie-up with the cleric in in the Gaza Strip, his name was Sheikh Yassin. And Mossad said that let's create an organization which was called Mujmama ul Islamia. I think I am pronouncing right. Okay,
Hmm.
Mujmama ul Islamia, and
Hmm.
they said we will give you all the funds. You build up hospitals, you build up universities, school. We will give you all the technology, so you are a part of us. Never think whatever Jewish boy will learn in the school, an Arab boy will also learn the same in the school.
Hmm.
So Mossad just flooded them with billions and billions of dollars. But they said your main objective is to help us in fighting against PLO.
Hmm.
So Mossad created Mujmana ul Islamia, right? And
Hmm.
their main objective was to fight with
The
PLO.
yeah.
Same way, the same tactics which America used, the CIA used against Soviet Union in 1980s. Mossad went on their footsteps. What the USA did, we are having mujahideens, and they created Al Qaeda to defeat Soviet Union. So Mossad also created Mujmana ul Islamia to fight against PLO, a Muslim cleric, a Muslim organization against another Muslim organization. And the first intifada happened in
Mm-hmm.
1987 when I don't know. I read over here that Israel did a false flag operation on themselves.
Hmm.
They asked the Sheikh Yassin, "You just do a very small, false flag operation on us, and we will say it's the PLO has done it, and we will get the chance, and we will
Right.
go and just bombard the PLO." So that's the backdoor diplomacy they played. And it was called the first, in 1987, this was called the first intifada, right? And it goes for, I think, more than a month.
Mm-hmm.
And PLO has a huge losses. And whatever the arms, the ammunition they were getting from PLO, this Mujmana ul Islamia was taking over. It was not taken over by Israel forces or Mossad or somebody by Israel. They said, "You go and fight with us. Whatever the arms, whatever the money, whatever you get over there, anything, right? It's all
Mm-hmm.
yours." And in 1987, it was the creation of Hamas. This Mujmana ul Islamia
Hmm.
now become Hamas. So, in short, you know what is Hamas? It's called Harkat al Mukmama al Islamia, right? That's the full
Mm-hmm.
form of Hamas, right? A Sunni organization. Now we are saying that it's a military organization, or we can say it's a terrorist organization. Now, what they are doing right now, which rules Israel. So, if you see the hands which the Mossad has roasted, they
Hmm.
have come back to rooster. So chicken are back to get roosting. So what's the problem? You can't have a snakes in your backyard just thinking they will only bite your enemies. Snakes are snakes. Serpents are serpents. They can also bite you.
Right, and I think the whole history of using the Islamist forces, that goes back, like you were talking about the Suez Canal, right? In the 1920s itself, MI6 had given the money for Suez Canal to Egypt, and Muslim Brotherhood was created out of that.
Right.
And then, when Hitler came in, the Nazis actually started using the Muslim Brotherhood guys, the Islamist guys, to actually turn around the Soviet, folks who were
Influence
not
and force. Yep.
Russians, Chechens
Yes.
and other Tartars and other Uzbeks. So basically, then Hitler started using that, and it is said that the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, Haj Amin al Husseini, had gone to meet Hitler in 1941 in November, and they both got together, and Hitler said that, like what he wanted to do, but Mufti actually said that, Arabs could be very useful to Germany as allies, and they could, they could inflict very serious sufferings to the Jews. So basically, the Mufti of Jerusalem wanted to actually get together with Hitler against the Jews in an attempt to annihilate them. In fact,
Yes.
Netanyahu very recently said that the idea of genocide of the Jews was given by the Mufti to Hitler. Hitler did not like the Jews and wanted to throw them out. But
Yes.
Mufti said, actually, you should kill them.
Yeah.
So the genocide idea came from the Mufti. to the Hitler. That's what
Yeah,
Netanyahu recently had said.
yeah.
So
And also the concentration camp, how they can be used as guinea pigs was also given by this mufti.
correct.
It was not
So
Hitler's idea. The
right,
concentration camp, how they can be done, how they want to, make them infertile, the men and women who are left, all this was the idea of, or all this was the grassroots, this thing of these muftis. It was not the Hitler one.
correct.
He just
And after
do it.
Nazis lost this thing, what really happened after that was that CIA took over those entire Islamist groups that Hitler was
Using.
creating,
Yeah.
against Soviet Union. So the West German intelligence and the CIA, they got together and took it. In fact, the first mosque was built in Munich in 1958 by for the Muslim Brotherhood. It was actually President Eisenhower who brought the Muslim Brotherhood into the Oval Office for the first time in
Yes.
1950s. And these guys have been using the Islamist forces since then. In
Yes.
fact, the Afghan war was actually a repeat of exactly what the Hitler wanted to do: use Islamists against the Soviets. Exactly what Hitler had tried to do. So this idea of using the Islamist forces and then going and then imagining that you can go and kill them and finish them off. In fact, that's what the West has been doing. I mean, they
And
did the
also
same
one
thing in
thing I
Iraq
want to,
and they
yeah,
did in Afghanistan. They almost did it in Pakistan now. So I think
yeah.
that's what they do.
No, one thing I want to add here. Since till 1986, Soviets were winning the Afghan war.
Hmm.
Then, when the CIA said that okay, enough is done, but we can't give you more money to the ISI because ISI is always taking the begging ball to CIA. Hey, give us money, give us money, give us money. You have to make control. You have to take control of how to generate the money. So they said, how we can do that? Then he said, opium.
Hmm.
Have the opium growth within Afghanistan. And the first target of the opium was Soviet army.
But
So
the
they
thing
start
is,
giving
see,
opium to the Soviet army and become so addicted that they give up the weapons and they and within and the war terms like in 1988, 87, 88, they said we can't because they were so much addicted.
but
And the
the see
colonels and the
the
generals were become
uh,
the
right.
warlord,
See
drug lords.
the history of Afghanistan war is that uh, you know like US was giving the money to ISI, and ISI was actually backing Hikmatyar. It was Ahmad Shah Massoud who, along with Hikmatyar, was being trained in Peshawar in the ISI camps,
Yes.
who actually went and defeated the Soviets. It was
Yeah.
not Hikmatyar, it was not Taliban. Taliban came later on, and Taliban actually, went against. So Hikmatyar was a guy whom Pakistan backed, and when Pakistan thought that he was not doing enough, that is why they created Taliban. And
Yeah.
Taliban was the one which went and destroyed Afghanistan in a very bad manner. But it was
Yeah.
Ahmad Shah Massoud who actually defeated the Soviets, like in that entire stretch.
Yep.
So it was. See, the thing is that Soviets went away, but even in the, like, if you really see the Yom Kippur, the Kippur War, like that was actually backed by Cuba and North Korea as well. So Cuba, that means it was being backed by Soviets also, against the Israel. So it's a very strange combination which has started again. And I think now we can shift to what really happened. I mean, it's no secret that this attack of Hamas was actually exactly 50 years after the Yom Kippur War,
Yeah,
October 7th.
yeah, they
Right.
said that this is their anniversary. They are doing it,
Right.
right? That was
So
the
I think the
statement from.
question that I mean, we all know the atrocities and like what kind of things that they are done, bake the baby in the oven and all those things. Like
This
one of the
is
things that has struck me is why did they? So this was all done. So there are like two or three aspects of this. One is that the entire defenses of Israel were broken. Second, Mossad was fooled, and third, the Jews and Israel were humiliated. Humiliated as in it was being all the atrocities were being done and were being filmed and shown live at that time.
live. Yes,
So the question
yes.
that I
And
think
the
we
social
should ask,
media. And
correct,
I'm surprised that the social media didn't do anything,
yeah,
right?
the question that we should ask is, yes, like they wanted to attack, yes, they wanted to do all this thing, but why this element of humiliation? First of all, why such such a bad
Barbaric.
manner,
Yeah, it's a
barbaric
barbaric.
in
Yeah,
such a barbaric way? And
it's a
second,
barbaric act.
why humiliate by actually doing the live telecast? So, what do you
See,
think?
I have discussion with many of my Jewish friends. I said, see, Israel has a big army, navy, air force. Their defense is big. Israel spent billions and billions of dollars on that. So if you want to fight, fight with the army. But why you kidnap a 6-month-old kid or a 79-year-old woman, right? And why did you rape a girl, then kill her and take her mutilated body? You film that. What type of this mentality is that? What type of this thinking is that? That's the problem with I have. I don't have a problem if you fight army to army. That's why the army are being created to
So,
save the country.
so I think, see, the thing is, we are all anguished by what happened. Like we all share that anguish. I think the question, like what I'm trying to understand is, there must be some reason why they've done. Yes, they are sick-minded people. They were on drugs. We all know that they were on one of those drugs. But there must be some reason behind this for them to
If
have
you
done what
see
they did.
history, do you remember Daniel Pearl?
Yeah,
How he was
correct.
right in Karachi,
Right.
like they do the halal for the chickens the same way, and they filmed that and put it on the media at that time, right?
See,
I
in
saw that
history,
video in the BBC. I still remember.
correct. In history, if you see, the
He was also Jew.
act of humiliating your enemy is done to actually break the enemy. So if you remember, during like before the just as the Kargil war started, what they did to Lieutenant Saurabh Kalia was almost the
Kalia.
same thing.
They killed him and make the
Yeah,
pieces of each one, right? Not only
correct,
Saurabh Kalia, the whole sixth. There were six Indian soldiers who went, and it was headed by Saurabh Kalia. So they
correct.
killed all six of them and mutilated their body and gave back in pieces.
This act of like mutilation, this idea of mutilation is actually like comes from like trying to actually break the resolve, break the mind of your enemy. And when that happens, see, the thing is like let's go back. Israel was known as a strong state, and Netanyahu is known as a strong leader. Mossad is known as a legendary, intelligence
Secret service
organization.
agent. Yep.
Still, they were fooled, like they were defeated, like in that sense. The IDF was nowhere near, and they were actually mocked. Their people were killed, and then on the other side, the entire state was like mocked by these guys and humiliated. The
Yeah.
idea in
See,
my mind was that they were pushing these guys to take some rash action after this, which they wanted them
I
to do
don't.
and fall in the trap.
I think they want to kill the morale of they shatter the morale of the all the Israeli people. I want to show that uh, what we are, and not only that. See, Israel has the one of the best technologies, right? They
Mhm.
breach that technology.
Right.
That's a big question mark.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't have the country security run only on technology. That's why fresh you see that's the difference between I was reading somewhere that's the basic difference between the American way of security defense and Russian way of security defense. Russia depends more on human inputs
Mm-hmm.
and want to have that channel, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and that they are doing since the Kazakhs when the Kazakhs were ruling Russia before 1800 1700 and all those. And the American and the West way is mainly on the technology. If you breach technology,
Mm.
you land nowhere.
Correct.
If you see what is cybersecurity, that's why cybersecurity has become one of the most important subject in IT, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's an industry which has rose to around $3 trillion,
Right.
and it is expected to get to $10 trillion by 2040. Just
Correct.
see, $10 trillion is the economy of one of the maybe top five, six countries. I will not say top, maybe five, six countries. If you see from the bottom five to from number 5 to 10, if you
Right.
join the economy like China, sorry, like France, Britain,
Right.
Italy, Canada, it will become so. Cybersecurity is very important.
Right.
So there are
So.
many lessons to be learned from here. The security breach, the humiliation they give, the barbaric act they do.
Hmm.
Okay, and not only that, the way they kidnap the kids and the elderly people,
Correct.
and a festival which was going over there, where there were a lot of foreign people like Nepalis, right?
Hmm.
Nepalis were there; they were killed.
Mm-hmm.
Russian were there. I don't know about other country, but yes, Canada, USA, Indonesia. There were some countries. There were some representative from different countries, right?
Correct.
So that's the main question mark
Right.
on many things. So
So now all this happened, right? Now, you know, the Israelis have launched their Operation Iron Sword, where they are going and they are saying now Netanyahu is very clearly saying that I won't stop until one, all the hostages are brought back, and second, Hamas is totally destroyed.
yeah,
Now the
that's why
thing is,
they
yeah,
divide north and south, right? They said
correct,
no, most of the Hamas network is in the north, so they cut the pipeline, right?
right.
Whether it's a food, whether it's electricity, whether it's water, whether it's a weapon. So he completely cut that lifeline.
But the things have become complicated because one, Egypt,
Tunnels.
Jordan, and Iran, they are ready to start the war on one side. On the other side, China and US are having their own conflict, and they were about to actually have a very serious incident. When the warships actually came close to each other, USS
In Mediterranean
Lance
Sea, yeah.
Johnson and all that, and then the so then we are in a situation where uh, this thing can actually get even more like worse and
Worse.
worse. Iran
Yeah.
will be ready to kill. Hezbollah has already started shooting from Lebanon. So Lebanon will get into the way. Jordan is ready. Egypt is ready to
Syria.
fight. Syria is ready to fight. So
Yep.
if so many countries are looking to jump into this,
So it's
what's
just
the
like what
next,
happened in,
what's the next thing?
yeah.
What's the next
So
step?
if you just join the dots and if you see the history, it is also said, right? One who learned from the history also commit the same mistake as done in history, right? So the world has never learned from the history. That's the problem. The leaders have never learned from the history. How the
Hmm.
Second World War started? Just an attack on Poland, and
Correct.
it went all over,
Right.
right? How the First World War started? The same way. So I am really very scared. I will tell you. I was talking with some of my friends today in the office, and we were saying, USA has sent a nuclear submarine, the strongest submarine on the earth. It is being called it, Ohio, right? So, do you want to have a nuclear conflict over there? I don't get that. Number second point, if you see the Israeli minister, he said we will nuclearly bombard the Gaza Strip. Does it
Mhm.
make any sense? Because that isotope, so that radiations, when those isotopes will divide and radiation will come, it is not going to remain in the Gaza. It can spread all over miles and thousands of miles. When what was that which happened in Ukraine in 1986? Uh,
Oh, Chernobyl.
Chernobyl, right? The Chernobyl, the radiation, disconnected. The Chernobyl happened in when it happened in May of 1986. The radiations were seen in Norway, 1,000 miles or kilometers away. Then
Correct.
the Norway said we are getting this radiation. After that, after 5 days of this, Soviet Union said yes, something a problem has happened in Chernobyl. That's the only statement they gave, and they
Correct.
were celebrating their May Day, and everything was going on in all the Soviet cities. Nothing, no problem they mentioned. So it's not an easy to say that we can have nuclear bombardment or something. The best way is always diplomacy. Let's sit
Yeah,
together
see,
like a
the thing is,
gentleman
we are
and talk.
saying, like, we are looking at from one side. Like, that is that, like, US has sent the, is ready for the nuclear war, or Israel is ready for the nuclear war. On the other side, Russia or Iran or even China, are they also maneuvering? Because see, there's a very interesting news. I mean, we all know what is happening on the southern border of the US, right? There are trains and trains of illegal like immigrants, or
6
folks
million to
coming in.
10 million has come to
Come
US.
in. At one count, 18,000 Chinese ex-PLA soldiers have been arrested. If 18,000 were caught in those 5 to 10 million people who have come in, how many PLA soldiers, ex-PLA soldiers, would have actually infiltrated the US? That's a question to ponder for a lot of us. And
Yes.
it's not just the PLA soldiers, it's also the, it could be
Maybe
jihadi
the
groups.
spies.
It could
Maybe
be
the spies.
jihadi groups. And
Yeah.
if they start, see, the thing is, right now, if you really look at this society, it is actually torn into two parts now.
Yep. Yep.
Like, one which is for Trump, one which is against Trump, and they just hate each other like anything. And then you throw this whole mix of pro-Israel and pro-Hamas, or pro-Palestine, and then you have a even bigger, rift in the
Yeah.
universities, on the streets. Today, a Jew
Yes.
was killed by the megaphone,
Yeah, yeah.
in
If you
California.
see in Columbia University, I mean, this has become like a clash. But I have also one question for the Palestinian who are protesting here. If you see today, California ship, right?
Yeah.
They pounded it because the people said, oh, they are sending arms to Israel. I have a question here. The Gaza Strip has 1.2 million people. And how many are the Hamas terrorists or fighters or whatever the fancy word they want to use? I will use terrorists are 40,000. So it means that the whole 1.2 million are supporting those 40,000. How they can build up a network of tunnels which is approximately set 200 to 250 kilometers under, even under hospitals, under houses, under shelters, everywhere they have a network of tunnels. How they can build up the network of tunnels if the normal Palestine, which have now become, oh my God, we are being killed. We 10,000 people have been killed. I also want to ask the UN Secretary of General Antonio Guterres that he said Gaza Strip have become the graveyard for children. Okay, then how the parents of those children allowed Hamas terrorists to flourish in their mainland?
But I'll ask another question. If So many kilometers of tunnels were built. How come all the kids and all the women were not put into those tunnels, and only Hamas people were in those tunnels when they
Exactly.
knew the attacks would happen? They
Yeah.
spent millions and millions of dollars to build the uh,
Channel
200,
network.
300 kilometers of tunnels for Hamas, but not even one tunnel for the Palestinians? Not
They
even
said
one?
they have three ways. One tunnel is for supply of arms. One
Right.
tunnel is for supply of food and other things. And another third tunnel, all go in parallel, is for the Hamas. So okay, so 1.2 million. If they have stand up against 40,000, I am pretty sure at least 20,000 would have given up the arms.
See, the thing is, I don't think they actually are looking for peace or they are
No.
looking for any kind of rapprochement. What they are looking for is actually like battle. Because, see, one of the things is the 6 Day War when that was fought, the mission of the Arab states was to finish Israel, to finish all the Jews. I
But
often
also
ask,
one
I
question,
often
one
ask
one
people, what if Israel had the same mission but the opposite? That we want to finish off all the Arabs and we
yeah,
want to finish off all the Muslims.
yeah.
Like, what is true of the Arab states in 6 Day War should have also been true of the Jews
Yeah,
of Israel.
Arabs. Yeah, the Arab states
They should
always
have had
says
the
that
same
this
mission,
is
but
our
they chose
land.
not. Yeah.
This is our land. So the they also have their what is their famous mosque in which Ariel Sharon went
Al-Aqsa
into.
Mosque. Al-Aqsa.
Yeah, Al-Aqsa Mosque, right? And Ariel Sharon went in 2000, and they see Israel goes as per the pact. Yes, they took a lot of time. 100% agree. 1993, when the Norway Oslo Act of God happened, they have to vacate the Gaza Strip, they have to vacate Jerusalem, they have to vacate the West Bank. They did it, and the then Prime Minister also has to give his life because he was shot down because he agreed on that thing in the
Mhm.
Camp David, right? I'm forgetting his name, uh, but his foreign affair minister, his foreign affair minister was the one who later became the prime minister, and he said we will stick what was signed. If Israel would not have taken that step, the situation today will be much better, I will say. They left Gaza Strip, they left all the West Bank, they left Jerusalem. If they would have all the three in hand,
Mhm.
Israel would not have this second phase of genocide, which happened a month back
Right.
on October 7th.
So I think
And I think, I wish, I don't wish, and I don't want, maybe opposite may have happened.
right. And
Because you are
that's where
taking a
we are.
lot of, yeah,
Yeah. So I think like what we have now is a situation which is actually a very dangerous situation which can blow up at any time. So
yeah.
I, like this is where the world is currently, and we have to see how we go to the next level where somebody can actually negotiate peace.
Yeah, so
Uh,
if you must have seen, remember, must have seen today, Iranian president called Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, and asked him, "Hey, you have to tell Israel to stop the war." Okay, stop the war. Have a ceasefire. What for? You again come, you again get together, and again attack. Earlier it was 1400, then it will. Do you want 14,000 Israelis to be killed up?
right.
If you want peace, sit down, divide into a proper way, like a gentleman way, right? Okay, this is like when the second world war happened, they divided Germany east and west. End of the story. Now there was spies and all those things happened, but never there was fight. The
Right.
cold war
The
happens.
thing is that uh, Iran is one country. I mean, all this is being done by their, establishment. Now, that establishment is Islamic establishment. But
Yeah,
if you look at the population, they do not support them at all. If today the establishment was taken off, the entire Khomeini and other, this entire Islamic establishment, actually, people say, I've talked to so many Iranians, they say that I used to use the number as 40%, but I've been corrected by many Iranians, and they say 90% of Iranians, if they are given freedom, they will actually convert back to Zoroastrianism. They'll become Parsis back again and leave
Yeah,
Islam. That is the kind of
frustration.
disenchantment that they have.
Yep.
They are so disenchanted with Islam and the Islamic regime that they actually want to get out of this, and
Yeah.
that is why all those
And
hijab and all those
yeah.
fights are happening.
Yeah, and if also you see, Hamas has also been divided into two. The one was initially after
Mm,
2006 when Saudi Arabia interfered and they said, okay, let's make a unity government, national unity government, when this called Hamas and Fatah. You know Fatah, right?
mm,
Palestine Al-Wataniya Al-Harkat, right? They become a political party because PLO was named as Palestine Authority, and then Fatah also came and they become a political party. And when they said, okay, let's have Hamas and Fatah come together and become a national unity government in 2006 under US pressure from to Saudi, then Hamas also get divided into two parts. One part say we don't want fight, and it was given by Saudis. So when that's the reason, if you see what is a major impact on the world will happen, the oil prices will go high, the trade route which was started from India to Israel to Saudi Arabia and then Europe, right? Which President Biden had just declared after G20 meeting,
mhm,
that will be impacted. Number third, Israel has built up under when President Trump did the accord, the peace accord. Israel has signed up with many UAE. The first time the Israeli are visiting Dubai, right? And the same way otherwise is happening. So they have built up with Morocco, right, and many
mm,
other Muslim countries. And Saudi was the next, right? And also, if you see China, China is building up the letting the Saudis and the Iranian come together. So if Israel has a good relation with Saudis, a time will come because before 1979, Israel and Iran has very good relations, right?
mhm.
Only after 1979 the relations strained. So maybe the time come, maybe the next 10 year, 15 year, we wish the peace prevailed over there. Israel have a good relations not only with the neighboring countries like they have right now, but also with Iran and other people, so that they can live peacefully, and
Right.
this big
But
holocaust, I will
uh,
say, will
but
go
the way
away.
I'm looking at it right now is that the way the world is situated right now, the way all the things are happening in Asia and Europe because of Ukraine, and Middle East because of the Hamas attack, and US because of the elections that are going to happen. I
And
think
even
we
in
are
India, because of the election, if you see
right.
all these election in India, also the elections are coming up.
Correct.
The world impact, the world economy will have the situation in the world will have a big impact on each economy, whether it's India or US, because it's all globalization, right?
Right.
Inflation is going reaching the new peaks.
So I think like the world is in for a very tough
Situation.
situation, and for something very big to happen. I believe, in my view, and I've written about it, on my newsletter as well, that I believe the World War III has already started with this.
Oh yeah, it has started since 2001. I
Yeah.
believe that the World War Three has
Right.
already started when
Basically, I think the World War
WWDC
III, I mean, in
happened.
the recent times, I would say it started with the COVID, but in the real earnest, now it has definitely started. And in my view, given how the European society itself, we have heard what happened in Germany, we know what happened in
Yep.
France, we know what is happening in the US, we know what is happening even in the UK.
Yes.
The societies are actually divided now in a very
Divided.
bad manner. And
Yep.
it seems that the war will actually be fought
On
almost
the
like a
streets.
civil war. almost like a civil war on the
Yeah,
streets.
it will be fought on the streets and the roads and the you know and the government offices, then on the borders by the
Right.
army.
Correct.
That's a
So
very
I
scary
think,
situation, you know.
yeah, it's a very scary situation, and like I think we have covered a lot of stuff today.
Yeah,
So, but what we can do is, and maybe in the next one, we will discuss. After you come back from your visit, like we will discuss more about all the things that have happened after that,
yeah,
because like we'll have a lot to discuss in the next few weeks.
yeah, yeah. I think we should also discuss about the what like the ISI has given to this mujahideen, and which are coming back, and how attacking the
Right.
the snakes are now spitting the venom at their masters. So, snakes are snakes, serpents are serpents, right? They have to spit the venom, if not on your enemy, but on you, you know?
Pakistan is not only losing to Afghanistan in the cricket field,
Oh, that's an embarrassing
also in the
situation.
war.
I think we need to discuss Afghanistan-Pakistan relations, you know?
So maybe in the next one we can discuss it.
Yeah. Right from the field of the cricket to the field on the border.
Right, exactly. Okay, so I think it was a great conversation, Ankushi, and all the best for your visit.
Thank you.
And we will take next conversation to the next level of what is going to happen now.
Yeah, we just pray that everything settled down, right?
Absolutely. So thanks for coming in again, and please go and read the book Geopolitics Redefined, where Ankushi is a co-author. And you can also sign up for drishtikon.com, the newsletter that we send out every Sunday. Thank you so much, and
Thank
have
you.
a good day.
Namaste.
Namaste.